Imagine a world where your words, your beliefs don't really matter. Some countries don't really have the rights that we do as a country, so they don't really have freedom of speech. So this begs the question, is freedom of speech a universal right that is recognized in all countries? Uh, there is a recognizable practice that is called the United Declaration of Human Rights, aka the UDHR, that wants freedom of speech to be universal in a way that every country can implement freedom of speech to their policies and the way that uh, their countries run things. Um, this begs to the next question: is free speech a right that needs to be protected and is or sought to be protected throughout history? Short answer is yes. Freedom of speech has been something people have been fighting about, not just for, you know, since like the American Revolution. It's been before that. For example, Socrates. He's mentioned various words on freedom of speech, and he's been a very big advocate of, you know, speaking his mind, wanting his beliefs and his words to be heard. Um, More of a sort of futuristic and I shouldn't say recent example because it has been a little bit since this person was around. Gandhi. So Gandhi was another person that also fought for sort of a freedom of speech type of way with his um, with his protest of you know England and all that other stuff. So that's freedom of speech has been sort of a thing to sort of wanting to protect and progress throughout history, but unfortunately there hasn't been a um, every single country has not fully embraced it yet, and that is something that sort of needs to change a little bit. And unfortunately, unfortunately, it's probably not going to change for a very long time because of how long the idea of freedom of speech has been fought throughout human history. If you were a powerful despot, would you want people under your authority to have free speech? Why or why not? Well, personally, my personal opinion, I feel like the idea of freedom of speech kind of gives you two compromises. One way is you give people the right of freedom of speech. They have the right to sort of criticize you as a leader and sort of say what they want, say their feelings, say their beliefs. And at the other side, if you're a leader, you know, and you don't want to be criticized, then you say, hey, I don't want to be criticized. So no freedom of speech for people. Whoever thinks I'm a bad leader or I'm a bad person, um, too bad. Your rights don't matter except mine. I'm of the firm belief that I feel like people's rights are more important than my feelings. Honestly, I feel like the thoughts and feelings of people are something to behold instead of just one person's feelings. I really do believe that because what's the point of of a country or of a you know society without hearing what everyone has to say or believe or talk about on a certain topic? To me, I believe that a society is everybody sort of coming together to make something great, to make their own marks, to make their own sort of landscape. That's what I believe a society is. The problem with, like, let's just say a dictatorship is I don't feel like that's a society. I feel like that's something that just alienates that, and it's something that's sort of that anti human in a way of sort of thinking like, oh, I'm above everyone else. And it's sort of a selfish way of thinking, um, that freedom of speech doesn't really matter. And, you know, if you're a leader of a dictatorship or something like that, and not allowing people say their piece and say their sort of beliefs, it sort of gives out the feeling that, hey, you believe that your feelings are more important than human rights. And honestly, I don't believe that as a person, and I don't think that represents who I am. And I don't think if any leader doesn't believe in freedom of speech and they believe in more of their feelings getting hurt, I feel like that's a little bit of how do I say, compromise. That doesn't make you a good leader. That makes you a sort of bad leader, because great leaders, they embrace criticism. They embrace what everyone has to say, and they take that into their own account, and they bring it into their own society to give a betterment of their sort of ideas, and sort of making themselves a better leader. So that would be my answer, is I would believe in freedom of speech, and I think that would be a way better way to go than being someone that does not allow free speech. So in conclusion, freedom of speech is an idea that should be protected and used for the betterment of the world and the human race. If not, the world will be subjected to issues that plagued humanity throughout centuries.